5:30 now?
Right.
Wow, Frank, you did it just in
5:31,
time. Do you know what 5:30 means here?
Tell me what 5:30 means, Cliff.
5:30 means Frank J. Parisi.
He likes the J.
Let's roll him. Woo-hoo.
We're on finally?
We're on finally.
Okay,
Well,
good.
I'm on, you're not.
I'm not, no.
Although
I could get in the shot.
Frank-
No, I can't. Oh, there I am.
No, actually, good.
There
You
I
get in
was.
there.
Okay.
Welcome to Anatomy of an Entrepreneur, everybody. Guess what we have here tonight? I'm not alone, as I was
I
last
know.
week.
Why, did you not do it last week?
No, here's what happened last week.
Because you wanted me to come last week.
Just so that everybody knows.
Yeah.
I screwed up big time.
Cliff.
Frank J. Parisi told me 6 weeks ago,
Yeah.
Cliff, I'm going to my sister's wedding in Florida. I will not be there on Monday, May the 26th, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, Frank. And he must have told me 3 times. And so last Monday rolls around. I'm working like a dog. It's 3 o'clock. I'm going, where's Frank?
Oh.
We go on 2.5 hours. Where's Frank? I text him. No Frank. Nothing. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me at about 3:30. I said, oh, no.
So you can't do the show without him.
Is in Florida with for his sister's wedding. So I built the shows because we had 2 shows. One of them I can run because I don't have to be on air.
Right.
And I called up Lori and I said, guess what?
You're going on.
I said, you're running vMix.
All right.
And she had never, ever run that software before.
That looks very complicated.
Lori's not like a technophobe.
Yeah.
But, I mean, but she's not, like, look at this.
It's a little daunting.
But we set her up.
And she did it.
And she actually ran the show and did a fantastic job. As a matter of
she did.
fact, we were thinking of firing Frank J. Parisi.
Poor Frank J. Parisi.
Right?
What? I didn't think I'd have to watch it like that.
Yeah.
She
Watch
just
it
snuck
back,
in
right.
from the
You're supposed to say, so that's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Anatomy of an Entrepreneur. This is going to be a very fun
Yeah, it's
show
not about
tonight.
Frank, the show, is it? Could
You'd
be.
You'd be surprised.
You'd be saying it works out that way?
He's a little needy.
Yeah, and he's controlling everything back
Yeah,
there.
of course, so we have to be nice to him.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'm going to take care of a little housekeeping first.
Okay.
First
you
of
do
all,
that.
this show is brought to you by My Instant Office. If you need a desk, a chair, a conference room, you need your own office, you need to use our lounge, whatever it is, come on in, sit down, and get to work. You know what they say, Lori Kay? They say, just add yourself. And this show is also brought to you by and sponsored by the Huntington Chamber of Commerce. Lori K. Kelleher. Did you know that the Huntington Chamber of Commerce is the largest chamber of commerce on Long Island?
I do know that.
I didn't know that.
Well, then you're not watching the show every week, because I say it every single week.
I missed that part.
You probably did.
Yeah.
And Lori Kay. I had a conversation with Courtney Bino, who's the associate director of the chamber. I said, Courtney, I need something to say. What can I say about the chamber? Do you know what she said?
It's the best darn chamber in the world.
That is absolutely correct. It is the best darn chamber in the world. So thank you very much, Huntington Chamber of Commerce, for sponsoring this show. Chef Victor, I don't want to bore you.
You're good so far.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We're getting there, though.
But I do. Okay,
getting
so
there.
let's keep it rolling.
All right, it's got to be about me.
Yeah, that's
Chefs
right.
are all ego.
Yeah,
You've
I know.
met a chef, right?
Yeah, but
I know I'm with a media guy, so it's a little...
An on-air guy.
And on air, right, live.
Yes.
So
So watch 2 egos.
yeah, okay. All right, let's see how this goes.
So so Chef Victor, I want to welcome you.
Thank you.
To our show.
Thank you very much.
Not only do you have an interesting story,
Okay.
but I think you have a fascinating career, and you've jumped to the next level. You've taken all the cumulative experiences you've had, you've taken them to where you're going now, which we're going to get to in a little while.
Okay.
But I want to start with Chef Victor. This is something I ask all of our guests.
Okay.
In 1 minute or less,
Yeah.
describe you.
Me? Oh my gosh, I didn't prepare anything. Cliff.
Okay, it's okay.
No, father first, boyfriend because I'm in a relationship, son, and then chef, entrepreneur, and hopefully successful entrepreneur and live media streaming star.
You could be.
Yes.
Well, you are now.
I am now.
Yeah.
Now
It
that
must
I
be
know
like-
you, Cliff.
I bet there's like 1 or 2 people watching.
Yes.
So anyway, thank you for telling us that.
Yep.
You grew up in the Bronx.
The Bronx. Born and bred in the Bronx.
What was it like there?
It's awesome. I love the Bronx. We were just talking about this before. I love saying I'm from the Bronx. I live in Long Island, but I'm from the Bronx. My kids are almost conditioned to think they are from the Bronx now. My dad always said that's God's country. We grew up in the house that my father grew up in. And it was great. I mean, you walked to school and you knew everybody in the neighborhood. That old neighborhood,
Yeah.
Irish Italian
Playing
sort of a
ball in
thing.
the street.
Stickball, not that I'm a big sports guy, but the fire hydrants, the spray paint on the train, all those sort of things that kids do, you're exposed to. I didn't do that stuff, but that other kids do that you're exposed to in the Bronx. But it's that great neighborhood feel. My grandparents lived 3 blocks away from us, and in the same house that my mother grew up in. So we were a very close family and a close-knit neighborhood.
I actually have a picture of you that I think Lori's going to find. No, that's Michael
That's-
Avila.
That's not me.
Where are all?
That's
Nope,
not
that's
me.
me. Did you
That's
bring
you?
the pictures in?
I sent you
Frank?
pictures, Cliff.
Where did they?
They were all in. Those are them.
Oh.
So So why don't you bring those in? We'll talk a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So you grew up in the Bronx.
Yep.
Brothers, sisters.
Older brother, older sister, I'm the baby.
You're the baby.
Yes.
Do babies need more attention than the other ones?
So they will tell you, my brother and sister will tell you that. Although when I was searching for all of these pictures and had my mother search for all of the pictures, a lot of my brother, few of my sister, very few of me. So
I'm the youngest also.
yeah.
Same
you got
deal.
the same sort of deal?
Yep, same deal.
But
Very few of
but
them.
I still think I'm the best. My brother calls me Click because when he's talking to my mother on the phone and I
Yeah.
click in, she always hangs up on him. So yes.
Why?
And Mom's watching now, so because I'm the baby. Of course,
Well,
Victor's on the phone. They gotta talk to him.
Hi, Chef Victor's mom.
Yeah.
Please write if you can write some comments down. Tell us some.
Your mom's name.
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane, please write some of his dirty little secrets.
Oh,
We need to
she won't.
expose him.
She'll be good.
Actually, she's probably very proud of you.
She's very proud. Yes,
Yeah.
they're both very proud. Both my parents.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know about that picture you're going to show me with the bell bottoms, but
We have to go. I have to go
full
into that
bell
picture with
bottoms.
the bell bottoms.
I don't think I
it's
was
really cool.
purchasing my own clothes at that age. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they are very hip, but I don't think they're all in yet. Are they all in, Frank?
I'm pulling that one right now. So
Yeah.
I'll pull that up.
Yeah, if you could pull that one up, that'd be great.
that's not the Bronx though. When you do pull that picture up.
I was going to ask you about that because
Yeah.
that looked like a suburban home.
So
like on
that,
Long Island.
and it is Long Island, so that is Hampton Bays. So I grew up in the Bronx, but I also consider that I grew up in Hampton Bays. We spent our summers in the Hamptons. Oh, you spent your summers in the Hamptons? Yeah, Hampton Bays, very blue-collar town, a very small cape. My parents own their own business. My father felt that he could never get away for a vacation, so he said, you know what, let's, before the Hamptons were the Hamptons, bought a tiny little cape out in the Hamptons, and that's where we went for the summers, and because summers in the Bronx are hot.
Yeah.
So we went out there, and that's really kind of how I got my start as a chef. Is my first job was washing dishes at
Yeah, I
the
was gonna go into
Southampton
that.
Inn. Yeah.
So you were not like always into. You were not like a foodie or.
So as a
when you were a little
kid,
kid, right?
ironically, and it's fitting that my kids are picky eaters. I was a very picky eater as a kid. I come from a big Irish Italian, but Italian is the food-focused family, and I didn't eat anything. I didn't eat eggplant. I didn't eat artichokes. I didn't eat escarole. I didn't eat lasagna. I didn't eat blah, 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 blah. You name it. I wouldn't eat it, like an idiot.
What a
I wouldn't.
shame.
What a shame. Yes, these things that I wouldn't eat. That now, when I, talk to my mother and I'm going to go home and visit, can you make blah blah blah? Because I kind of missed that. So I didn't explore my food passion until I got older. But I always, I was always intrigued with cooking. I know you pulled the bio from the website. I mean, I used to watch Julia Child on TV.
Yeah. So, before you even show the picture, let's or do you have? What, let's talk about Julia Child first.
Okay.
So I read that you watch Julia Child.
Yeah.
So I got the feeling that like if you're going to put that in your bio, that means it struck a nerve with you.
Yeah, so, you know, I mentioned it earlier, I wasn't a big sports kid. I wasn't out playing stickball, and I probably can't hit a baseball to this day. So it wasn't really my thing. But I remember coming home after school, you know, it was only 13 channels, and she was on channel 13. So I remember watching it, and obviously she was very entertaining. People loved her, and it kind of hooked me. I didn't watch the other. There was a couple of other, maybe one or two other. Graham Kerr was on.
Gourmet.
Yeah, so he was on. I didn't like him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found an affinity to her. She was funny.
Yeah.
And I also loved
Human. She's very human.
very human, but cooking French food, which is very technical.
Right.
And I love that part of it, so that you're very personable, outgoing. She seemed to have fun on TV. Everybody remembers her beating the monkfish,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, or the puff pastry. But again, following a very strict recipe. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then Frank J. Parisi's here. And then I kind of got, I would start to watch it. And then I would start to kind of cook a little bit at home, still with the picky eater thing.
Right.
So, but the kind of the seed was planted, I suppose. And, you know, I don't know if I started experimenting a little more, probably not at that age. But I kind of was enamored with the whole idea. You know, looking back now, Julia didn't become famous till she was 50.
Yeah.
So I just turned 52.
She had been raising a family.
Yeah, so she became this icon later in life. So I have time.
You know, there are a lot of people who actually did not find their success until later in life.
Yeah. So again, I had the seed planted, and then, you know, fortuitous, we went out to the Hamptons for the summer, and was great. But I wanted to start working. Again, my parents owned their own business, so I had a strong work ethic. So first job was 13 years old.
You didn't work for your parents?
Did not work for the family business.
What'd they do?
My parents own a funeral home, 2 funeral homes, actually. So great, very successful at it. My brother entered the family business. His sons entered the family business. But I decided to go a different route. So, you know, my first job, summer job. Any kid wants to get a summer job, and I got a job washing dishes at the Southampton Inn. And as soon as I walked in the kitchen, I just loved it. I loved the action.
What did you like about it?
The action, the ambiance, it never stops. It's very social, but you have a job to do. And washing dishes is very zen. They come in dirty, they go into the machine, they come out clean. Not that I knew what zen was back then. I do now in my later years. But I kind of liked all of it that really happened. But while I was washing dishes, I was keeping my eye on the other things happening in the kitchen, going, oh, that's a cool uniform, and working with food, and now seeing food on a large scale. You know what I mean? Giant walk-in refrigerators and pieces of meat this big. So it was very exciting. That was my first summer job. Then the next year, I went to a different restaurant, a restaurant called The Deck, which is semi-famous in the Hampton Bays on Dune Road, and started washing dishes there, but ended up working there for 4 years and working my way up through the ranks.
So, but you started working there at the first place, the
Yeah.
inn, when you were about 14?
13.
13.
I think I had to go get my working papers that summer to work.
I remember those.
Yeah.
So that photo
Yeah.
of you, how old are you in that picture?
Which one?
This one.
The bell-bottom one.
Yeah, are you?
That's maybe 8, 9.
Okay, so you're not even old enough.
No, I'm not there yet.
Those are some fantastic pair of bell bottoms.
They are.
Not only are they a fantastic pair of bell bottoms, but I like they're high enough so in case there was a flood in there, I wouldn't get wet.
Going. My ears too, I would have floated away. And yeah, the color scheme was terrible. I had my Eddie Vedder jacket on though, so I think I looked pretty cool
I think you
ahead
were
of
pretty
time.
So that would have been around 1976?
76, 76, 77, I think that was the year we got the house out there. And I could tell by the picture, like, none of the shrubbery is grown. Consequently, my sister has that house now
Oh, that's
out in
awesome.
the Hamptons. Yeah, so we keep things, McNulty's keep things for a long time.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
I still go out there, still have friends out there. My 2 best friends that I've had for since I was 14 years old, both met at, you know, those 2 restaurants that I mentioned, both still in the industry.
Right.
You know, you make these lifelong friendships. You know, the thing about the restaurant is you work a lot of hours. You don't make a ton of friends. You don't go out, you know, when everybody else is going out on a Saturday night, you're working.
Your friends are who you're working with.
Correct. So you build these lifelong relationships with people that you're in the trenches with.
So when did culinary start to become a passion?
Probably maybe the second or third summer when I was working at this restaurant called The Deck. Again, it was a very busy Hamptons hot spot, but great food going on there. And that's when I kind of said, hey, I could see doing this. Now I remember watching Julia Child as a kid, and now you kind of see how all of it goes together, and liking the action of it, like I said, and the fast pace. You know, I remember when my first day working at that restaurant, they were like, oh, the dishwasher for tonight called out, can you work tonight? And I was like, are you gonna pay me? They're like, yeah, we're gonna pay you. I'm like, yeah, I'll work. And they're like, can you work a double shift tomorrow? I go, absolutely. So it was that, again, that work ethic, hey, make some money, save for a car, you know about that. And then, but also, it has that social aspect because you're with all these friends that you've made now. And you know,
And you like being so would you say you like being around the food and the action more, or the people more?
That's a good question. I think at that point it was probably the people and the action of it. I didn't really start to develop the food end of it until I went to culinary school, until I decided to go to culinary school and really kind of broaden my horizons.
And the passion was full blown.
The passion for the restaurant business was full blown.
By?
I think by 15 years old, after working in it for a couple of years, going, hey, I could do this, combined with, hey, I have this work ethic from my family who owns their own business, to say, hey, I think I want to own my own business someday. And that's, at that point in my life, I said, okay, after I graduate high school, I'm going to go to hotel and restaurant management school, because that's how you own a business. You go to management school. I didn't know enough about the industry to say culinary is the way to go.
Yeah.
And I actually remember in high school going to my high school guidance counselor, and I went to a very strict Catholic high school, and they weren't, if you said you wanted to go to a trade school, they looked down at it. They wanted to know if you were going to Fordham or St. John's or St. Joe's. They wanted to know which Catholic school you were going to. I ended up going to NYU. NYU had a great hotel restaurant management program, so I went there, took the number 6 train into the city because I didn't want to go away to school, and went to school and hated it. I hated school. I hated high school, I hated grammar school, I hated kindergarten. It's ironic that I'm a teacher now. I hated it from day one. So I went to NYU, hated it. And
what were you studying?
I was in general studies at the time because I was taking my core classes for hotel and restaurant management. Because I'm thinking, well, you go to school for this, you're gonna start doing all of this fun stuff that's gonna make me own a restaurant. And it wasn't happening, so I started cutting my classes, but going to work. I worked at a restaurant in the Village called the Metropolis Cafe. And I worked there, so I would cut my classes, or I'd go work for a little while, come back. People were like, you smell like fish. I'm like, yeah, I know. So, I got a little disillusioned with college and said, you know what? Maybe I should switch. Maybe I should go. So I switched from NYU to New York Institute of Technology, right? Great school, great hotel and restaurant management program. It's got the word technology right in the title. Went there, and same sort of thing. Both phenomenal schools, but went there and said, I'm not getting what I want. I don't know if, and then started to rethink and also understand the industry a little bit, that maybe as a chef is the path to ownership.
Right. So you knew at an early point that you wanted to own your own restaurant, not just be a chef.
Correct.
So I'm going to play psychologist for a second.
Okay.
Because I think we learned things. What's that?
After you do that, I have some questions for you.
Okay. Thank you, Lori. I think we learn vicariously from our parents by the example they set for us.
Absolutely.
And while your family was in the funeral home business, they owned their own business.
Correct.
And I just have to wonder, is that part of you seeing and learning and the example that was set for you of, yeah, I could be on my own. I can't see working for somebody else.
Correct.
Am I close?
You are on the button, on the nose. Was an old commercial on TV. If my dad's watching, I'm sure he is. He's going to remember the line I'm going to say. I forget what the commercial was for. And it was this older gentleman goes into a restaurant and he goes, oh, hey, we used to work here together. Remember when we were waiters, talking to the waiter? And he goes, I'm Augie, you remember me? He goes, I can't believe you're still working here. And he goes, hey, Augie,
yeah, right.
I own the place.
I remember that commercial.
So you remember it.
I do.
That sticks in my head. My dad brings it up all the time. Hey, Augie, I own the place. Still working, though. That's the kind of the finer nuance that a lot of people don't get, is that, wanting to be an owner there are plenty of people, especially in the restaurant world, who want to be an owner, who want to be the big shot standing at the bar, and saying, "Oh, let my friends sit down," or they just want to have the nice car parked outside. They don't want to, like Augie,
Right.
owns the restaurant, but still waiting tables.
Yeah.
He's still doing what he has to do. Up until a couple of years ago, my 80-year-old father was tarring the roof still, all right, because it was his business, it was his baby. He did what he had to do. So that's what you do. You know what I mean? So yes, the psychology of that part of it, but not just for, hey, I want to make money. It's for that independence.
And you love what you're doing, so you
Right.
found something you love to do that
Right.
you could make money at. So I'm gonna cut us both off here for a
Okay.
second. Lori says that we have some questions.
We do, from our friend Rob Pepe.
Good old Rob Pepe.
Good.
He has two questions for you. So the first one is, what do you think the best environment to work in? He says, for example, country club chef, high-end restaurant chef, teaching at a culinary academy, etc.
So when you answer the question,
Yeah.
a good thing to do is you look in the camera. That's your camera.
That camera,
you
yeah.
go, "Hey, Rob, thanks for the question."
Okay. You should have told
that's
me
a
that
great-
was my camera like when I started the show.
Well, let's rewind.
Okay, so thanks, Rob. Nice to see you today, too. By the way, so that's a very full and complicated, and I don't want to say a loaded question, so I'll back into it. You wouldn't be a chef and an instructor at a school until you have minimum 10 years experience. So when I used to run the Culinary Academy of Long Island, I would get 10 resumes a week, and half of them I wouldn't even look at. Because you have to be a chef for a long time. You have to be anything, hopefully, for a long time before you could teach. The rest of it kind of becomes your personality, whether you want to work in a restaurant and like that fast-paced action that, hey, 8 o'clock is showtime, it comes up and there's this a term called in the weeds that you just want to work and work and work until you can't even think straight, but you get out of it. Some chefs love that. Some chefs don't like that. They like catering. They like to know, hey, I have a party for 1,000 people, but I know I have 1,000 people. It's a little more regimented. So there's some chefs who like that. Country clubs are great if you can get into a country club, but kind of once you work the country club route, you kind of stay in that. So you almost kind of stay in your lane, depending on which route you go. As a chef, you can't be a country club chef for 10 years and then go get the job at the hot restaurant in Huntington. Or vice versa. You can't be the hotshot chef running whatever gastro pub and then expect to be XYZ chef at XYZ club. You know what I mean? So it really depends on the person and what they're looking for.
Do you think it's like a personality type and you just kind of like everybody seeks their own level?
Yeah, I think so. I think once you find what you're comfortable in,
Yeah.
there's the definite, and I've worked to kind of scan the band. I worked a lot of different things. I worked corporate in New York City, and they're very different animals. The different chefs are different animals, and it's hard for a lot of chefs to go, like I said, to go from one for the other. Some people just kind of get stuck also. They get pigeonholed that, hey, my first job was here, and I've been working here for 10 years now, and now I'm here. That's what it is. And so, like I said, it's one of those questions that it's almost an individual sort of a thing. And,
Right.
and some people like some parts better than others. Some people couldn't think of working a Saturday night with 100 tickets on the board if their life depended on it. If some people like corporate, hey, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, I like it, but maybe they serve 5,000 people a day.
Well, but still, it's more than 9 to 5 because you have all the prep and everything, which leads me to my next question.
Yes.
Which is...
Wait, I
Did Rob have
two.
a second
yes, I have
question?
two questions.
Oh.
Sorry.
You can get to it. We
Sorry,
like Rob.
Mr.
Never mind.
Sobel. So he
Sorry,
said
Rob.
if you wanted to impress somebody,
Yeah.
do you have a signature dish? And what is it?
That's the question chefs get all the time. What's your favorite dish to cook?
Right.
And that's like asking me.
This
which
is like an impress me
Which is my
kind of
favorite
meal.
child, right? You don't
Right.
have a favorite child. You don't have a favorite dish. And really, as a chef, if you had one thing that you always made,
Right.
goes to that pigeonholing thing. Like, you should always be experimenting and growing and realizing what you don't know. Like, if you've mastered a dish, move on to the next dish.
Right.
Or really the type of cuisine. Like, I did corporate in the city for a while, so I started experimenting with a lot of Middle Eastern cuisines because we had a lot of employees of that culture there. So I kind of experimented and kind of almost taught myself a little bit. So I wouldn't say I have a favorite. I definitely, and most chefs will say the same thing,
Right.
that they'll go, no, some chefs like, oh, I love Italian, or I love Asian, or I love whatever it is, and that's fine, but with any career, if you're the landscaper who only mows lawns, you're not going to have much of a career because they need you to trim some hedges and plant some plants and do some stonework. So you got to kind of make yourself, you got to know as much as you can about food.
And one more. Maria Misko, do you know who she is?
Yes.
She loves the logo on your jacket.
Yeah.
That's because she probably designed it.
I was
did.
going to say, probably,
Yes.
right?
They
Maria
did.
and Daigo.
Daigo did a phenomenal job with my logo. I brought them a rough thing that I made, cutting and pasting in a Word document, and they took it and they made it
I actually
beautiful.
think it's a really awesome. Their work is great.
It is great. It is great.
I love their work.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to stay local. Rob from Good Pep, obviously Huntington. Daigo from Huntington, because I like to go and meet people.
Right.
When they're going to be my vendor for whatever it is, I want to sit in front of them. So I have to go, and if I have to yell at them or if I have to bring them a tray of cookies,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I want to go, phenomenal job, or
Yeah.
what the heck is this? Like, I don't have to do everything email, text, and phone, even though that's the way things are done now. I had plenty of people from Fiverr and all these freelancers contacting me for the website and stuff. But I said nope. I want to go with somebody who,
That's
like I
smart.
said, I could talk to.
Yeah.
And I interviewed a lot of website people. I did a lot of research in starting this end of my business.
Right.
But the people who I used are the people who I felt
Right.
believed in my concept. Who went, yeah, that's cool. I
That's
want
really
to take a class.
So speaking of concepts, which
Mm-hmm.
we'll get to a little while, entrepreneurs have to work their asses off.
Yeah.
And the restaurant business is no exception.
Right.
How hard is it to own your own restaurant?
So it's the worst of both worlds. I mean, any business. If you own a greeting card store, it's 24/7. You work at a restaurant, it's 8 in the morning, because that's when the deliveries start coming in, till 10, 11, 12 at night, right? Because you work at a busy restaurant, even if you close at 10 o'clock, the last order comes in at 10, you're not done cooking until 12. So you have all of these hours and all of this. I mean, I didn't see my mother for 25 years on Mother's Day, because it's the busiest restaurant day in the world. So it's a lot. It's
grueling.
It's grueling. I owned 2 restaurants. And it got to the point that when my little guy, I call him little, he's 14 now, but when he was born, I go, that's it. I have to change what I do. I have to do something else. I only know how to do this. I certainly didn't want to change careers because I still loved food and the industry. But I was like, I can't not see my kids. I got 2 little kids, and I'm like, no, I gotta. So I got out. I sold the restaurants. And,
Wow, that's pretty wild.
And that's
that
when
you
I
did that.
started teaching.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're right, and you started out as an instructor at a culinary academy, and
Yep.
you ended up becoming the president.
Yeah. So
The cream always rises to the top. How
Right.
did you get there?
So, I sold the restaurants, and I had a ton of job offers, but I didn't want to go frying pan to the fire or working for somebody else doing the same hours. So I was looking for, I always knew I wanted to teach, but I thought I'd do it later like at this age. Okay, now I'm ready to retire, let me go teach. You know what I mean? Kind of like that. So I saw an ad for a culinary school on Long Island, Culinary Academy of Long Island. I never heard of it. Was living in Westchester at the time. The restaurants were in Westchester. Sold the restaurants, sold my house, and was looking to move somewhere near the water. So it all seemed kind of perfect. Met the owner of the school, and he's like, okay, you seem to have the right personality, because teaching's all personality. Give it a try. And from that point, from my first class, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And then I remember sitting across from him and saying, I'm going to sit in your chair one day when you're ready to retire. So, which he chuckled at. But, fast forward to whatever it was, 14 years later, that happened. So yes, I worked for the school, taught, but actually found my new passion within the industry. Within a few years, I then won ACCSC, which is a national accrediting body that accredits all trade schools. I won Instructor of the Year for the entire country. And then from that point, it was kind of a launching off point within the company. The owner of that school, Michael Levitt, sold the school, but stayed on to expand. And we ended up expanding to Newark, New York City, Philadelphia, and Atlantic City. So he stayed on as chief operating officer. He made me his corporate chef. So I went from that point and opened the other culinary schools, hired the directors, set up the curriculum, taught some classes, built out the kitchens, all found the vendors, did all of that. When he eventually retired, he put me in charge of his school. Back, because that was my home, that was my school, and he said, you ready for the next challenge? And I said, absolutely, and loved the school, and then I got his chair.
So you've had a lot of successes along your way. You must have had some fails. You feel like sharing any?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, everybody has their failures, you know, or if something.
And then how do you deal with the failures?
I mean, you brush yourself off and you move on. I mean, I sold my restaurants, and when I sold, I had a partner. We had 2 restaurants. Partnership didn't work out, as partnerships sometimes don't. So we separated. I took one restaurant, he took the other. I was able to actually sell my restaurant for a profit, which doesn't happen. I was lucky. I found it was a former sous chef of mine, so he bought my restaurant. So, but you know, I wasn't planning on selling the restaurant. So even though I sold it for the kids, and I didn't lose my shirt, which most people do in the restaurant business if they close, part of it might have felt like a little bit of a failure that it didn't become this huge conglomerate. But I was like, okay, next thing. You know, if you look at your failures and you just ponder them,
Yeah.
you'll never go anywhere. I could say, you know, my marriage failed. I'm divorced, happily divorced, as people say. I always say I sold the restaurant so I wouldn't get divorced. I got divorced anyway, but changed my life. Very different. You know, my life would be very different. My custody with my children who live with me would be very different if I was still in the restaurant world. You know what I mean? So. Of course, I've had failures. Of course, I had a bad review. I got one bad review, and it crushed me. Luckily, the New York Times review came out the following week and was a positive review. But that review from whatever piddly little Westchester paper it was definitely still hurt.
Yeah.
And the ironic thing was the review was so bad it was good. That people, it was our busiest day the next day. People came in and said, there's no way this place is that bad. This guy has a personal vendetta against you, the reviewers. Sometimes food critics they're frustrated, whatever they are. You know what I mean? So, but again, to be vindicated, you know, the New York Times is the holy grail of reviews. If you live in New York, Westchester, wherever, you want to get that New York Times review. Even if it's a mediocre review, you'll take it. So it came out positive review, which was, again, it took the edge off that, but that one still kind of stuck in my craw that guy.
Yeah, it happens, but I can understand how you take it personally.
And now in the world, I mean, I have, you know, a business obviously, but having a restaurant now where everybody is a reviewer, everybody with a phone, and everybody has a phone has to give you their opinion. It's daunting. It's hard. You put yourself out there though, and hope that you're doing the right thing, hope your intentions are pure, and you hope it all happens. So again, going back to the, have I failed? Sure, but I always look at it as a learning experience. Sure. I mean, that's one thing I would tell the students. Okay, yeah, you burnt that. Great, let's make it again.
Right.
You know what I mean? That doesn't mean you don't know how to cook or you're a horrible person.
Yeah.
You know, you move past everything and try to learn from it. If you don't learn from it, you're lost.
So now, are there any more questions?
No, but you're,
Yeah, I know, we got to move on.
and you have to show some of these.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, right, we're going to get to that in a
Right.
second.
Yeah,
Okay.
talk too
So
much.
that's actually what I was going to now.
Okay.
Okay.
So now you're done with the school,
Done with school.
and you say to yourself, what should I do now?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Cook Studio.
So a little bit of time in between the closing of the school. The school unfortunately closed, had nothing to do with the Culinary Academy of Long Island, corporate, blah, blah, blah. Won't get into that here. But what do? I actually tried to buy my school when it closed. Couldn't because of all the legal ramifications. So I said, okay, you know what, let me take a break from trade schools and culinary education for a little bit. Let me do corporate dining in the city that I was talking about Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, right? It's got to be easy. 9 to 5 turned into, 4 a.m. to 2 p.m. So during that time, I was like, I still had my passion. I was like, I have to teach. I can't open a full-blown culinary school. It's just, I don't have an extra $3 million and a year and a half to wait for.
called me.
Oh, I should have. I didn't know you then, Cliff. We'll talk after the show. Or a year and a half to wait for all the licensure to come through from New York State and the Department of Education. It's so complicated. You would never do it. Nobody would ever do it. And I wouldn't do it. And I said, you know what? Let me do some recreational stuff. I was freelancing for a couple of people doing some recreational classes, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just do it myself. And started to look around and maybe, look to maybe build out a place in Huntington.
For what kind of, are you talking about like a full-blown school?
Recreational cooking school. Not unlike what I do now, but just a storefront that I could fit 20 people in. But the rents are so high, and the business model, I would have to do 5 classes a week right from the start. I'm also a pretty smart business person, and I'm under no delusions that I'm going to make $1 million as soon as I open the door. Just because you build it, they don't come. You know what I mean? Not at all. So wondering what to do, I quit my job in the city. I was like, I can't take this. I didn't even have anything set up. Backwards, I'm going to go back a little bit. A few years while I had the school, there's a winery in Hicksville. Winery calls me. Hi, this is Vincenzo from Wine You Design in Hicksville. I run a winery in Hicksville. I go, there's a winery in Hicksville? I go, no, there's not. No, yeah, come down, see the place. We make wine. I go, like...
Frank picture?
You know, like my grandfather used to make wine in the basement. He goes, exactly. I go down, I meet Vincenzo from Wine U, explains the process to me where you make a barrel of wine. Over a 1-year process, you crush the grapes, you press the fermented product, you taste it, and then you come back and you barrel it you bottle it 11 months later. I go, this is an awesome concept. It's $3,500 for a barrel of wine. I said, I'll teach some classes for you. I want a barrel of wine. I want to do it in trade. And he said, sure. So I did the classes, so we developed this relationship.
By the way,
yeah.
I was at your class.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember seeing me in
I
the large,
do
in the large
vaguely
crowd,
remember seeing you.
but
Yeah.
I loved your wine.
Wine's great.
Almost tastes like caramel to me.
The Vincenzo's wine is great. It is, you know, it's all made right there. No additives, very tiny bit, you know, because it's not made to go on a truck and be shipped anyplace else. So wines are phenomenal. I fell in love with the wines and the place. I ran into Vincenzo we both belong to this thing called the Long Island Food Council. And we saw each other at a meeting, and I was like, I'm thinking of doing my own thing. He goes, let's talk. He was really after me for years. And he said, hey, you know, I need to get more eyes on my winery. You've been doing these classes. You know, long story short, let's do something together. And that's how the idea for the Cook Studio was born. That, okay, yeah, I'm going to work.
So tell us the concept.
So the concept is hands-on interactive cooking classes, which the concept changed a few times. When I first talked to Vincenzo, we were going to do it almost not in the barrel room. We do it in the barrel room now. We were going to build out almost a foyer, an area that would be the kitchen. And then we finally decided, let's do it in the barrel room.
Right.
That's the unique space. All the barrels are in the background, interactive cooking class. That's where the concept was born. So that, okay, again, interactive cooking class, includes wine. You're in a unique space. It's at a warehouse in Hicksville. It's like the hipsters going to a rave in Brooklyn in a warehouse. So that's the concept. Also looking to grow the concept to say, okay, now that I've done it here at Wine You Design, let me talk to another winery. I'm talking to a winery here in Northport. I'm talking to a couple of breweries that kind of like the concept.
Like Six Harbors.
Like Six Harbors. Beautiful spot. We're in talks. We're going to see if we can kind of put something together to do it there. I think it would be a great spot. It's in Huntington. I live in Huntington. It's beautiful, and it works for both parties. For my business, obviously, I'm getting a space to use, but for the winery or the brewery, they're getting more eyes on their wine or their beer or their entire facility.
So then you can pair your dishes
Absolutely.
to what they have
Yes.
in their facilities, in a brewery, in a winery, in a vineyard,
Yeah.
which is so cool. And I really love the fact that you go to these different venues because it kind of like just like spices it up, and it's not even like it's the same old thing for you.
Right. No, you're right. It's interesting for me. It's interesting places. It's almost like a movable feast sort of a thing. And you know, these other places that I'm talking to, I would maybe do one class, you know, a Wednesday night here, a Thursday night there,
Right.
Friday nights over here to have a variety in North Shore, South Shore. Maybe I talk to somebody in Patchogue in 6 months, you know what I mean, to go to the next level. And plenty of places out east. I don't know if I'm ready to go there. Trust me, I have a phase 4, 5, and 6 plan, you know, but you got to
That's
walk
what
before.
entrepreneurs do.
Yeah, you got to walk before you can run. You got to prove the concept, which I think I've only been open 6 weeks. We've only done a
You've been
handful
saying
of
that for a year.
I know, right? Yeah, it's been in my mind for
But it's
many
been in your
years.
mind for a long time.
A long time,
Yeah.
a long time.
And here's the other thing, and I know for me, because you know this Streamcast network, it's just started as like a little thing
Right.
in my head, and Lori's been around it since it was just this little thing in my head, is that when you started out, and you're also bootstrapping everything yourself, you sweep the floors.
Absolutely.
You turn out the lights.
Yeah.
You clean the windows.
Yeah.
You go to the post office. You do what you have to do.
Yeah, I
And
wash the
that's
dishes,
where you
that's-
tie the passion back in.
Yeah.
Because you love it so much, you're willing to do that.
Yeah, you don't mind doing that because it's your place. Hey, Augie, I own the place. So I
Right.
don't mind wiping my tables, and I don't mind, I got to go to a restaurant to eat, push this cart around, get all of this stuff and bring it back. But yeah, it's your place. And then, you know, come 7 o'clock or whatever time, it's show time,
Yeah.
and everybody does it. But yes, the passion is still there. I love to teach.
So, speaking about teaching,
Yes.
We have all this really amazing food here. Lori, do you feel like joining us?
If you'd like me to help you.
I will.
You know that I need help.
He does.
Are you
know.
shy, Lori?
No. Me?
Yeah,
I
I know
can talk
you
in
don't
front
like
of 5,000
you don't like
people.
sushi.
I love sushi.
Oh, then why don't you come help us?
Course I'm
I
hungry.
forgot to bring another one of these chairs out.
That's right. Are we going to sit
Well,
and do it? Or
maybe
are
we
we going to
should
stand?
stand.
Well,
Do it.
I don't know
Maybe
how
stand.
it depends upon how
Oh,
Frank has the chroma key set up.
Chroma key.
Frank, can we sit or stand?
You can
Kneel? Should we kneel?
Neither.
You can stand or sit.
Really?
So we won't be out of frame.
If you stand up, I don't believe so.
Okay. Chef Vic,
I would say
Chef
stand.
Victor,
There you go.
let's hold
think
hands and
standing
breathe,
is
and then
probably
stand
better.
up.
Okay.
Oh, and Diane says hello. Diane Palmer.
Ah.
You know,
Oh, hi, Diane.
we love those girls.
Thank you for watching the show. Yeah, we love
All right,
them.
I'm signing off.
We
over
love
there.
Diane and
All right, I'm
Maria.
coming over.
And
we
here
cooking?
comes the fabulous
Stop it. Shh.
Lori K.
So pretty.
Lori,
Yes.
welcome to the show.
Hi, Cliff. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Can I
You
get
guys
you a
are
chair?
fun.
Or do
No, are we
all
gonna
gonna
stand and
You
do
can
it?
have my chair. But we'll stand.
I think we'll stand.
We'll stand.
Frank,
So,
Standing is better.
can you also bring up the PTZ? Let's see how that's looking, so we can show everybody the food.
Cool.
I think Chef Victor should be in the center.
I agree.
yeah?
You're the star.
And you're going to flank me? I'm not the star, though. See, that's the whole concept of the school. It's funny that one of my
Oh, that's
one
interesting.
of my best friends, that I had met at Southampton years and years and years ago, who's an event planner now, he even said, and he's probably watching, Brian, he said, shouldn't it be the chef's studio? And I said, well, because he was like, you're the chef. And I'm like, yes, but I don't want to be the star. You know what I mean? I want my students to be the star. I want you took the class. You guys were there on Friday.
We had so
We had
much
such
fun.
a
You heard me talking
We
and
had a lot of
talking and
fun.
talking in the beginning, and you're probably like,
Yeah.
when are we going to get to cooking? But then once I'm done with my demos,
Lori was.
yeah.
I was what?
You were.
I was what?
When do we get to cooking?
When are we going to get to cook?
Oh.
This guy talks too much.
No, I like the fact that you talk,
Yeah.
in the beginning because you
kidding, yeah.
educate us
Yeah.
a little bit about yourself, a little bit about what
Yeah.
we're going to do.
I
And
try
about
to
the
keep it-
food.
yes.
He educated not only about himself and cooking, but he also educated us about the food
Give you a little
and
history,
also
yeah.
like a little history of the food,
Of the
which I
type
thought
of
Right,
was
yeah.
interesting
right.
too.
So what I try to do, since teaching professional culinary school, and that is a large part of it,
Yeah.
is the history of food and how everything is done. I try to give you an abridged version of that because I get it. You don't want to hear me for a half an hour and watch me doing a demo. I try to keep it short. I end up going off on tangents, but I've found over the years of teaching that if you're doing it while I'm doing it, it might not sink in. If you watch me do it start to finish, okay, it's going to sink in. Then I can go out from behind my little perch and walk around like I did to everybody and say, "Oh, you're not holding the knife right." Who was that?
That was
you?
me.
We're gonna,
That was me.
You're going to show us how
Right
to hold
away,
the
went
knife.
right to me. He was like, nope.
The finger
And
thing.
as I was making my chimichurri sauce today, I actually
Did you?
folded my finger. Yeah. Yeah, I was like better because
Okay.
I heard you in my brain.
And yes. So if you remember, well, I
Yep.
try to give you the little tricks.
Right.
But I set it up as professional as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As I would for a professional culinary school, giving you the same thing, but you're not getting homework, and I'm not yelling at you, and I'm not making you clean the kitchen at the end. You know, and nor am I grading you. But you guys did pretty good.
And it was also nice that you said, well, this is what we're going to work with, but if you don't like that, you don't have to use it. If
Yes.
you wanted to add a little of that. So it was
That
fun
was also
that
cool. And actually,
we
we
could kind of
have
make
a
it on our
picture.
own.
Frank, can you bring up a picture? There's like a table with all kinds of food on it. And this is
Yeah,
how
that
the
was it.
food was all set up. I took a picture of this. And the food is all set up. And then after you taught us, you then said, okay,
Go get what you
go
want.
get. I'm going
Right.
to give you your guideline,
Right.
but you can go mess it up all
Because
you
cooking
want.
is method and procedure. You know, I don't just go, oh, here's the recipe, follow the recipe. And believe me, there are plenty of chefs that do that, plenty of people who make a lot more money than me and have big TV shows go, here's the recipe. I don't like to do that. I want to go, this is the method and procedure. Here's why, here's the steps if you're going to use garlic and shallots. But if you don't want garlic, leave the garlic out. Start with just the shallots and give you the know-how. And then, yes, I don't like mushrooms. I don't like this. So I would never go, well, you have to put mushrooms in pad thai. No, you don't. You put in whatever you want. As long as you're still following the steps.
It's the
of,
cilantro.
the cilantro,
I
that's right. You
love
guys go, oh, he was
cilantro,
no
but Cliff
cilantro.
does not like
There's always
cilantro.
one in the class, usually two.
It's
Yeah.
actually research
Yeah.
that shows that there is a certain population of people that do not like cilantro.
And it tastes
from a
like soap to
scientific
them.
yeah.
Yes,
From a
it's-
scientific standpoint, there are people like us.
Yeah.
And in my family, I was the only one that
Mm-hmm.
didn't like cilantro, My daughter now hates cilantro.
That might be a
Maybe it's
brainwash a
yeah.
little bit
You think?
thing.
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
I love it.
But anyway,
Anyway,
so,
so-
you're allowed to change,
Yeah, it's
you can make
great.
things however you want.
So let's make some sushi, and we do
Okay.
have the food cam.
Is that one?
Frank J. No, this is the food cam. Frank J. Parisi. There's our food cam.
Oh, okay.
Right there. See, that's that cam right there.
Okay. So, all right, first thing we're going to do.
And by the way, have you been doing lower thirds and stuff?
The lower thirds are the only one I can get up is yours. The other one I can't move his name at all.
Tom Sinclair, if you're watching. Okay.
I don't know what that means. Okay. So we have all our stuff laid out. We have our sushi rice,
Okay.
which has been pre-made. And when I do the sushi class, I give a brief history. I talk about sushi rice. Like, we don't make the sushi rice in the class. It has to be pre-made, but it is a medium grain rice that has been rinsed 3 times and cooked the exact right way in the oven. When it comes out, it's seasoned with, you know what it's seasoned with? You said you made sushi?
Yeah.
Well, tell me. I'm
Um,
quizzing him, see?
I do know.
Rice wine vinegar.
It's made with some kind of vinegar.
Yes. Mirin wine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, rice vinegar.
Rice vinegar,
And wine.
mirin. There's 2 other things that are in there.
Some kind of jasmine.
No.
It has there's like an herby thing, a sweet. What is it?
He's failed. There's no herbs in sushi rice.
It's
So mirin wine.
Yes.
Rice wine vinegar.
Yes.
Sugar, salt. Some chefs put a little bit of oil. So I don't know. Sugar can be considered an herb.
no.
No. So the rice is made.
Oh, so we made ours with.
What'd you put in there?
Nothing.
You use jasmine rice?
No.
No, that's not the right rice.
Let's just say our sushi were edibles.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a whole nother thing.
Oh my God.
That's
Okay,
a different show.
well, let's
it's
go.
not my bag, baby.
Okay.
All right. So the rice is made. So we have everything laid out here.
Yeah.
I used that term the other day. You know what that term is for when everything's in its place? Chefs love it.
Organized.
It is organized, but that's not the term. Mise en place. Chefs love that. They get it tattooed all over them. We
Oh,
yell it
really?
all the time. It means to put everything in place. So it means we don't just start cooking. We don't, like I said, I had all those vegetables laid out there, but we prepped the vegetables for our spring roll and our pad thai at
Yeah.
the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't say, okay, I'm going to cut the mushrooms and then walk at a
Right.
camera and go get the onions and do all of that. All right? So we have everything laid out, but we have to cut, okay? So we have to cut some carrot, some cucumber, and some peppers, okay? So I'm going to show you, but then you're going to do it, all right? How do I hold the knife? Do I hold it like this? See if they
No.
remember. No.
No.
No, Chef Victor.
What
You
about
touched
this?
the blade.
What
No.
about that?
No,
No.
Chef Victor.
Up
There you
here,
go.
right?
Yes, Chef Victor.
Choke it
Yep.
like it owes you money.
Yep.
All right? And my fingers, right? Am I going to keep them like this?
No.
No. What do I have?
Curl
You're
them
gonna
back.
curl them over.
Like I have arthritis.
Right.
I said this. You say this. to
You did say
students.
that at school.
Choke it like it owes you money. Arthritis. I ironically have arthritis now. I think. Okay.
It's hard to
So-
choke someone when you have arthritis.
Now this is a Santuco. It's a little bit different of a knife that you guys were using the chef knife the other night, which has a rocking motion
Yes.
for cutting sushi. This has more of a downward motion. It's kind of the same, but you're still doing the same. You're still holding it the same way. You're still keeping these guys bent back.
Why choose one over another?
So for the flatter cuts and the julienne cuts, I could have used this for the Thai class too. I have more of the chef's knives, but this is more of a traditional Japanese knife to cut some of these vegetables with. So different chefs like different knives for different things. It's really what you feel the most comfortable with. Do people use the wrong tool for the wrong thing? Absolutely. So, but switching between a Santuco and a chef's knife or a French knife, that's not a grievous mistake.
Gotcha.
Okay. So remember, right? We got arthritis. Right. So for the carrot, we want to make sure
Oh,
we
right.
square it off a little bit so it's flat, and then straight down. Okay. And then remember, we stacked them. Do you want to try it?
If you want me to, I will.
I do, because I want to see if you remember. I'm going to eat that cat. All right, so you go here. Go ahead.
Or do you want me to cut these?
I want you to cut those into strips.
Oh, okay.
It's a cooking school. I can't just sit here and make everything. We're just going to watch him do. Are you a lefty?
He's a lefty, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's why. Oh my God. Blur this out, Frank. This is just... Okay, it's fine. I'm teasing you. Okay. You
Wow,
want to cut the
my
carrot? You want to cut the
feelings
cuke?
I'll cut it.
Are hurt.
Okay. Cut the cucumber.
Call my therapist.
Just like that. All right, just so the same sort of way. Remember how to...
Got it.
I'm gonna let you do.
It's so
See how she
skinny.
does.
Don't mess up those hands. You need them for work.
Sobel.
Yeah. We don't want to get you fired.
Yeah. It'd be very hard to fire her at this point.
She's holding the knife the right way, though.
She is. She's doing a fantastic job.
Except there goes my nail polish.
Okay, no nail polish.
It's hard to hold,
So now what you do is, right,
Is
don't
flip
stab me,
it?
is you flatten it out
Right,
and then
okay.
do it again.
Oh,
See, and
this
look
way.
how it's stuck to the knife.
Oh, I
because
didn't
you
even
cut it nice and
notice it.
thin. So, yep,
Hey.
good. We don't have to cut that whole thing unless you
Got
want a
it.
lot of cucumber.
No,
Good job.
we don't.
This
Thank
is
you, sir.
awesome doing this live.
It is. Imagine, I cut myself. But then we do the same way, right? We stack them up and then just go straight down. Whoa, our table's shaking a little bit. Okay. All right, so we cut a few of those. I just wanted to see if you guys remembered from.
I remember because I got my hand smacked. See, once somebody tells you do it wrong, you never
Right, remember I
forget
got the wooden spoon? and I
Right,
hit you
right.
with the wooden spoon? Because that'll learn you. That'll learn
That'll
ya.
learn you.
I got to tell you, though, that was one mean pad thai.
It was
You guys,
so good.
you guys did a good job.
It was
and
delish.
the summer rolls were great too.
They were good too.
We put raw garlic in our
I
peanut
know.
sauce.
Nice.
We like garlic.
That's good. So you follow the idea that if you just follow the concepts of cooking and the procedures, and but yeah, if you want more garlic, put more garlic. Did you use some of that Thai, the sriracha sauce, the super hot one?
No,
I did separately because
I
she
was a
doesn't
little
like
afraid.
hot. But I will
I
tell
like
you,
hot,
Lori,
but I don't like it. I
that
don't want it to.
sriracha
Yeah.
is some of the hottest
Yeah.
sauce.
Right,
I've
and that
ever
would
had.
kill my taste buds for the night, and I wanted to enjoy the.
Right.
You know, I was like, oh, I don't want to ruin the night
Okay.
with that.
All right. So now it's going to be sushi time. So, you know what this is called?
Seaweed.
I know. What's the actual name?
No.
Don't look. I don't even know if it's on there. Well,
I
it's
don't
probably
even
on there in
think it's in
Japanese.
English. Yeah.
Wrap, a roll, a
Seaweed
pancake,
paper? Oh.
a
Nori.
square. Oh, nori, right.
Oh.
I know that.
It's called nori.
I know
Okay.
that.
So, okay, and then we have bamboo. Maybe I'll do one while you guys do it. Even
Good
though I said I
idea.
would do it because I'm sure we're running out of time.
We're actually overtime, but that's fine.
We're
That's
over time?
okay. Let's keep going.
It's
We're having
okay.
fun.
Yeah.
It's okay. I own the
Okay.
show.
Okay, excellent. We know the owner.
I know.
Okay, so what we have a bamboo mat, right, wrapped in plastic. Why, Cliff? Go ahead, do your filthy
Oh,
joke.
safe bamboo.
Safe bamboo, yes. Ha ha. Okay, so it's to keep.
Ooh, he's getting familiar real fast.
That's right.
He's starting to sound like you, Lord.
It's that chef ego thing. All right.
Oh.
Okay, so we want the mat to be in front of us with these guys horizontally. This looks like a rectangle, but a square, but it's really a rectangle.
Okay.
So we want it in front of us. There's lines where it was milled. I don't know if you could see
Yes.
in that line there. We want those lines to be vertical in front of us. There is also a shiny side and a rough side. Okay. We want the rougher side towards us. You got to try to catch it with the light. That is the rough side. Wow, you guys have got it down.
You taught us well.
Yes, okay. So, we're not going to put gloves on for this because we're just making it for ourselves. So we have our rice here. We have little bowls of water. Sushi rice sticks to everything. It's why this thing is wrapped in plastic wrap for safe sushi sex. It's why we are going to dip our hands in water. The water acts like, and it's going to give you fuel for another joke, acts like lubricant. A little bit, okay? So what we're going to do is you dip your hands in the water, and then you grab a handful of rice. Your hand is bigger than my hand. Don't be that person, okay? So go ahead.
Both hands?
Both hands. All right. You're going to put the rice, but you're going to plop the rice down on there, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to start to gently spread the rice around. We want to imagine the rice being like 2 grains of rice high. Now, if you need more rice, get more rice. It is much easier to add more rice if you need it than to put too much on and take it off. All right, so we're spreading it around. I'm not pushing it. We want to make sure we go all the way to the left and right, okay? But we want to leave about 1 inch at the top and the bottom.
Great camera angles, Frank J. I am noticing.
Oh, good.
Now Frank makes some sushi.
Frank's going to be the taster. I hope he's eating. I hope he likes wasabi.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't bring
I'm a better
wasabi.
taster than a
I
preparer.
did, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I spackle my wasabi on.
Do you?
Yeah.
You can put it on there now. Okay, so
Um,
see how we went all Okay.
Oh, so you really
Left and
like-
right.
Oh, sorry.
All the way
My
left
bad.
and right. Now, if you leave that empty, when you roll it, it
The
ends up
first
looking
one
like
is
a.
right.
It looks like a cigar.
Right, got
So
it.
that's a different class. I don't do that class.
That's the Cuban class.
I'm only half Irish, half Italian, and half Japanese. Okay.
There you go.
All right.
So am I okay here?
Define okay. Let me fix you a little bit. Oh my Lord in heaven. Cliff, why do you got to ruin the Streamcast Network show? My first live streaming show.
I
Okay,
know.
you're fine. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to decide what you want to put in your sushi roll, or Frank's J sushi roll, right? So I have brought some eel. I got the crab there. I did some kimchi, which I actually made.
You did?
I did.
So you pickle it.
Fermented. It's different.
Oh, okay.
Fermented. It's awesome. Anyway, you're going to put it down at the bottom of the rice. You
Got
got
it.
it exactly right. Then whatever veg you might want on there, I like to have them stick out a little tiny bit. Keep them neat, neat, neat.
Fond de
Look,
place.
beautiful. Mise en place.
Oh.
But that doesn't really apply now. Also brought some sesame seeds. If you wanted to throw some sesame in there, you could. Totally up to you. Again, this is
Oh,
all
I
method
love
and
sesame.
procedure,
Me
so
too.
whatever you want. You know, if you wanted to put the wasabi in there, you could. If you wanted to put the ginger in there, you could.
got
Totally
it.
up to you. Throw a little bit of kimchi.
What is that?
That's the kimchi I made.
Oh, I'm doing that too.
Okay. All right, we're almost ready to roll. I don't know if you're ready to roll. Oh my God. All right, make these.
What I did.
Put them on top. And you got too much. Less is more. Didn't I say that the other night?
You did.
Okay, less is more.
Okay.
You're going to make a futomaki, which is a monster one, which we're going to say you were going for that. But you're not making a burrito.
Is mine too much? Have too much stuff?
It's
in it?
okay. It's going to be
I'll take
okay.
some
Now,
out.
the reason why I don't put too much in, I mean, that's not too much if you go to a sushi restaurant. But if it's, now you've made sushi rolls before. And a lot of times when I teach these classes, most everybody's never made a roll. And if they put too much in there because they want to get their money's worth, wow, I'm going to put the tuna and the salmon, it's not going to come out right. And then they're going to be discouraged that, oh, my sushi roll
Gotcha.
didn't roll
Right.
correctly. So
Right.
less is more in there. And really, sushi is all about balance. It's the balance of the rice and the veg and the seaweed and all the different things. And then when we try it with the wasabi, the soy, and the ginger, all these different things working together.
Gotcha.
You know, like we talked about that the other night with the Thai. Okay, so now what you're going to do, I'm not going to use the mat just yet. We're going to take that 1 inch at the bottom, and that's kind of our first fold. See how, all right, oh, beautiful. Yours is magnificent, okay? And then we're going to make sure that guy's tucked in there nice and tight, and then we're just going to start to push, just like that. Don't go all the way to the end. Oh, you got a little,
I know, a little extra rice.
it's okay. Well, not really, but okay.
know.
It's going to
Wait,
ooze out
I'm
a
going
little
to
bit.
get rid of it.
Oh, I told you
No?
it's hard to take it off. It's okay.
All right.
So now where we left that inch at the top, you dip your hands in the water again and just drip it on there. And what that does is the
It's sticky.
like a seal.
sticks to itself. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's going to stick with the rice anyway, so you're okay. So then I take it, I put it in the middle, okay? And now we're going to use the mat to just sort of tighten it up because there was a little bit in there. It owes us a little bit of money, so we don't have to choke it as much as the knife, okay? So I go in there and I just kind of squeeze it ever so tightly. You can roll it up like that. Again, I'm not squeezing the hell out of it. If it oozes out the sides, you're squeezing too much. Okay, so it should be perfect, right? Not a cigar, not a torpedo. Oh my Lord. All right, and there's our sushi roll. Let me see, Cliff. Let me look at that thing. Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's heavy. He made a burrito. All right, it's okay. It's not. I'm teasing you. I'm totally teasing you. Let
can
me see.
take
Yours is much better. Well, clearly.
It's got a little extra rice on it, but it's...
Yeah, but that's on the bottom. Nobody saw
Right.
that. Okay, so now to cut it. Remember, we dipped our hands in the water because the rice sticks to everything. So we have our knife in the water. Usually sushi chefs use a long knife. I did bring that one, but it would have stuck up this far.
Right.
So we make sure the knife is wet. Right, we let it drip down like that. We cut it in half first. Okay, then we turn it this way.
So you saw it almost.
I saw it with the nori. You want to saw a little bit, even though this knife is razor sharp. If you put the weight on it, it's going to
squash
ooze.
it?
Yes, and see how it's getting a little gooey
Yeah.
from the sushi rice. So we would clean it. I always tell people if you want to hear me scream, clean the knife this way. are always with the blade away from you. But the reason why sushi chefs use the longer knife is they can use the whole knife before cleaning it.
Oh,
They
right.
can get a lot of cuts. Like I'll start now here, and then I'll go to the second part of the knife. But now, see how gooey it is? I'll have to dip it back in the water.
Yeah, I make matzo balls the same way. I have to, because matzo meal gets very sticky,
It does.
and I keep washing my hands.
Yes, yeah, it's like meatballs or whatever it may be. So, all right, and then
Well, it's pretty good.
that one looks pretty good, yeah. So you want to kind of be a lowercase e, all right? And you want it to be a good balance of the stuff should be about the size of your pinky and everything, a good spiral in there. And we have chopsticks, but sushi actually you could eat with your fingers. I don't let anybody use forks in the sushi class, but with these guys I do. You use your fingers, not forks, okay? But if you guys want to cut yours and then eat them, we can do that. Are we still on air, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you just go as long as you...
We're just running over.
We're just going.
I don't
you
care.
can just talk yourself out
This
of
is
it.
too much fun.
This is fun.
This is fun. I've never done
I was
this
going
before.
to do fresh
This
mozzarella
is
too.
very
'Cause
You're
that's
gonna
my
come
other class.
back.
I'll come back.
And you'll make fresh mozzarella.
Yeah, we'll do that class. That's a fun
Or
one.
mozzarella, as they say.
Ah! See? I screamed.
Lori, hi.
What?
You're
okay.
in trouble.
Wait, should I leave it wet?
Leave it wet.
Right,
I'll
the
give you this
first-
one. Right, but you did it right. You wanted to clean it off, right?
Okay, and then.
And then back in the water.
Okay, got it.
I screamed because you
I
were
know,
gonna.
because you
okay.
just said it.
I
so
said
you only
that.
have to tell me once,
Okay.
yell at me. Then I'm good.
Saw.
Saw it in half. Nice.
Saw.
Well, it's,
I saw it.
all right, make sure it went all the way through.
It did.
It did. And you line
Oh.
them up. The other. Yeah, you got it.
Should she wipe that off first?
So now dunk it back in the water. That'll give you.
Lori's nervous. She's on TV.
You don't make her come up every show? You want to break her chops?
No.
All right.
She usually
Dunk back in the water
I'm
again.
not nervous. I don't even know why he says that.
Nice sawing motion. You can use that knife, actually.
I can.
I brought that one just because I
Even though
love
it's
that knife.
serrated?
Yeah, that'll cut through this one like a serrated knife through sushi. That knife's razor sharp as well. But same sort of thing.
Thank you, Lori.
Sure. Sorry.
I'm having a little heart palpitations with you guys on the knives.
It's
Okay,
good, we're good.
Went all the way. Make sure you go all the way through, right to the cutting board. Good. Dunk it in. Blade away from you. Very good.
In the middle?
Well, now you want to do it this way. So, chefs do everything efficiently. So this way, if I'm
twos.
cutting two pieces like that. You're a little bit off, but you want to generally get 8 out of a roll. So you would do 3 cuts. I always get somebody in the class goes, "Can I do 16?" I go, "Yeah, it doesn't make more sushi." Good.
A little bit too thin.
A little too thin. A little more sawing. Yeah, okay. Maybe I shouldn't have let you use that knife. Okay. Use the other knife. Well, see what happened is, see how you have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it didn't quite
Gotcha.
meet there. Yours did. You did good. This guy did great. But see how it went. See how it went out a little bit.
I want to
But
eat at that guy's place,
You
not
can-
at that guy's place.
It's all right. We're learning. This looks. He's learning. School.
You're very colorful there, Cliff. It looks a little neon you got going on
Nice.
there.
It's funny, I bring carrots to the class just to give everybody something to cut.
Right.
Carrots aren't really super traditional in sushi, but I like for everybody to have just a little bit of knife skills
Right.
in the class to, because cucumbers are pretty easy to cut.
Cliff, it looks good.
But then I had one class, they all made carrot rolls. Like I ran out of carrots.
Oh.
They were just all carrot rolls. They left all the tuna. I go, okay, all right. Okay, I wouldn't cut them anymore.
Not this one?
That's
No, it's too-
you're going to
it's
have to
gonna
eat
look
that
like-
one off camera, I think.
No.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That was great. I
Good
can't
job.
wait to eat this.
Me either. Do
Yeah.
you want
Good
to
job.
do your thing?
Mean say
Or-
goodbye?
Yeah, or do you want
Do we
to?
wave like in the old game shows?
Yeah.
Like, goodbye now.
No, we do like in a dating game where we go.
Big good. Nah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming here.
That was my pleasure.
And Frank, we didn't put it up there, but please put up Chef Victor's website, which is
www.thecookstudio.com.
The Cook Studio.
and you do class, and you can find classes and schedules. and
Schedules
what
for the
you're
classes are up
cooking
there, and the class descriptions are up there. Everything is gone. We have our Instagram feeds into there as well, so you can see all the pictures
Yep.
from all the classes
awesome.
that have happened. All my contact information. I will do in-home cooking classes. So that's a separate conversation, but some people have approached me. We do private classes at the school as well.
Okay.
that somebody just takes the whole room.
We took your class.
Yeah.
We had a blast.
We had a great time.
We were
Take the
talking about what
class.
can we
It's
do.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You guys are a fun group.
We'll be back next week. I don't even know who's on next week. I think
I'm
could
coming
be-
on again.
Yeah, I think Chef Victor's coming on with Chef Allen.
Did you
What's
put
that?
credits in there or no?
What's that?
Were there credits in there?
I did put credits in there. So the credits are in.
Not this one, right?
No, that's Michael Avila. There's new credits. So we'll be on next week at 5:30 p.m.
Plastic surgeon?
No, that's no. He's not a plastic surgeon.
I'm sorry.
He's
He's the
a
gastric
bariatric surgeon.
bariatric. Yeah.
Yeah. So after you
Right,
eat
him?
the sushi, then
Right.
you have to go see the bariatric surgeon.
Eat too much of this.
Right. He's
He ate
next
too
week?
much of the
Too
surgeon.
many carbs.
I think
Yeah,
so.
They don't
That's
like that.
I know.
No, there's
That's
a good
okay.
amount of carbs in here.
There's a lot of, well, especially yours, yeah.
This is good.
I know. I'm sorry.
Cool.
Well, I thought too high meant like about 2 inches high. So,
Yes.
but Frank is looking for the credits because we want to give.
I think I have them.
You did? Okay.
All
So,
right.
but we will be on next week at 5:30 p.m. I know we're having on. I think it's either Chef Allen from Babalu, maybe coming on.
Oh.
Or
He went to my school, you said,
He went
right?
to your school.
Awesome.
He was one of your
Okay.
students, I guess.
Awesome.
Or we have some other great guests coming on. But we will be next week. Frank J, do you have the credits?
Yes.
Frank J. Parisi has the credits. Thank you so much for watching the show.
Thank you
Please
for
come
having me.
back next week, and we'll see you soon.